Hey guys, it's Ray Davis with Six Sense Media here with news with a different view. Today I want to talk to you about the mainstream narrative. What I'm calling the mainstream narrative is a consensus reality that spans just about every topic you can think of, from science to economics to war and peace. It's the view of the world that you see promoted 24/7 on cable news networks and protected now by social media companies trying to limit the speech of people on their platforms. A couple of weeks ago, Dennis and I talked about the banning of Alex Jones on the Seeker podcast. But this week I saw something even more sad happen. I happened to come across a couple of videos of channels that I have watched for quite some time. As I've shared with you before, I have a tendency to kind of watch and listen to things across the political spectrum because I want to get all different points of view and kind of triangulate on truth a little bit. And I happened to come across two channels that I have watched for some time, actually on opposite ends of the political spectrum, but both giving a truth in their message and their platform that is outside of that mainstream narrative. And they both happened to make a video that was very similar this past week. And in those videos, they basically shared their dejection, their frustration at the fact that despite the fact that they are giving well-researched facts and information, despite the fact that they have evidence for the things that they're talking about, no one seems to want to listen to alternative views. People seem addicted to this mainstream narrative. And it's really odd when you consider the track record of that narrative. That track record includes lying us into wars, misrepresenting all sorts of things to us constantly. And yet when someone comes along, right, left, or indifferent, with a different perspective, and with evidence to back up their perspective, people don't seem to want to listen. And both of these people had come to the same conclusion, that they're thinking seriously about or have decided to shut down their channels. They've decided it isn't worth it anymore to fight the battle of trying to get people to believe you and listen to you against a mainstream narrative that just seems to roll along like a drunk driver in the wrong lane, with no consequences to the number of times that it has led us astray. And I was really saddened by the fact that both of these broadcasters had decided to stop doing their shows. And yet, I understand where they're coming from, because I've been fighting this fight for a long time too. And Dennis and I started Six Sense Media to be an alternative voice, to try to share a different perspective on news and events and the paranormal and things like that in the world. And we felt the frustration as well. We feel like we're sharing good information. We're giving a different perspective, a thoughtful perspective. And at times it's frustrating because it feels like no one's paying any attention. And that's not us boo-hooing or these other broadcasters boo-hooing. It really is a major frustration that despite the fact the mainstream narrative has failed us so many times, it still gets all the traction. It still gets all the attention. It's still what people cling to. And so while I understand the frustration of these two broadcasters, and I respect their decision that they're not going to invest their time anymore in trying to provide a different perspective to a world that doesn't seem interested in it, I'm here to tell you that I have not reached that point. In fact, I'm more determined than ever. I get up every single day and I try to make my dent, and I try to make it as positively as I possibly can. And there are real challenges in this world. There are real problems. We are on some very wrong tracks. And yet, I see the potential in humanity. I see the potential in each one of us and what we could be if we would be our best selves. If we could get out of these mainstream narratives and these paradigms that are holding us back, that are telling us we're limited, that are telling us our resources are limited, that are telling us we can't achieve what we want to achieve. I simply don't believe it. I won't believe it. And I won't stop working to help that vision win in this world. I grew up watching Star Trek, and I realize it's just a science fiction series to a lot of people, but I always loved that vision of what humanity could be, and I've always clung to the idea that we are perfectly capable of reaching that level. Now, we're not going to do it if we keep holding on to this mainstream narrative that they're pitching us of one more war after another, justifying our trillion-dollar military and intelligence budget, one more lie after another, one more way to divide us after another. If we keep listening to those voices, we will never get there. But if we start listening to alternative voices, people who have a different idea and a different vision for humanity's today and tomorrow, then I believe we can reach any height that we set our minds to. So I refuse to give up. I'm going to keep pushing forward, even though I feel what they're feeling. I see people not listening to alternative voices who are offering a different perspective. The time has come, my friends. It's come to create a different world, a better world, a world that is worthy of our true potential. And I, for one, won't give up, and I won't give in, and I hope you won't either. This is Ray Davis with 6 Sense Media. I hope you're having a great week, and I will talk to you again soon.